Now we're on the conclusion paragraph for your informative paper. You're going to write a conclusion that is related to the information in your previous paragraphs. And we're going to do that by 3 ways. We're going to restate our thesis statement, restate our main ideas, and we'll finish with a call to action. Let's start with restating our thesis statement. A thesis statement is going to remind your readers of the main idea and your subtopics from the paper they just read. Now, to remind you of what a thesis statement is, use this formula below. Use your main idea and then add in your subtopics in an interesting way, and of course using correct grammar. In the introduction, we used this. Giant pandas have special characteristics, live in certain areas of China, and eat food besides just bamboo. Now, you never want to have the same sentence twice in a paper. That's just boring, and there's just easy ways to avoid that. So we're going to take these same ideas, follow the formula, but restate the thesis statement in an interesting way, yet still have all the same information. Here's how I did it. Giant pandas are fascinating animals, and there are many interesting facts to remember about their characteristics, their home, and their diet. Now, as you can see, I still have the same subtopics. In the first one, I wrote have special characteristics. In the second one, I wrote characteristics. For the second subtopic, I talk about their home. And finally, for the third subtopic, I talk about what they eat. Both of these are thesis statements that deliver the same information, yet they're not the same. Therefore, I can use one in the introduction and one in the conclusion. Once you've gotten it rewritten, you'll be ready to put it on your graphic organizer. Now let's look at restating main ideas. Now we're going to restate our main ideas by using our body paragraph worksheets. Let's look at the first one. So body paragraph number 1, I'm going to focus on that subtopic number 1. What special characteristics describe a giant panda? It may be helpful to reread what you've already written to remind yourself what you have already used. Because again, you don't want to use the same fact twice in your paper. As I reread it, I realized I didn't use this statement, and so this is what I wrote. The bear is only 6 feet long, not giant as some people may think. I would also suggest reading this together with your thesis statement to make sure it flows well. Giant pandas are fascinating animals, and there are many interesting facts to remember about their characteristics, their home, and their diet. The bear is only 6 feet long, not giant as some people may think. That seems to flow fine, so I'm done with this one. Now let's look at body paragraph number 2. Again, reread this and make sure your second restatement of the main idea answers that subtopic number 2 question, which is, where do giant pandas live? I found a way to restate something that I've already similarly said in just a different way, to remind the readers that there's not that many pandas left. We have to be careful with what we have left on Earth. So I wrote, furthermore, only 2,000 of these black and white bears are left living in the mountains of central China. This captures subtopic number 2 well. Now, finally, let's look at the third body paragraph. What do giant pandas eat? I wanted to use a sentence that reminds the readers that they don't only eat bamboo, which is the most common thing people know about them. So I wrote, finally, though pandas do eat a great deal of bamboo, they also eat eggs and some small animals. Now we're done with the restatement of the main ideas. Now let's go to the last part, the call to action. Now there's many ways to finish a paper. If we left our paper just as it is, it would sound kind of awkward to finish just with that last sentence. We're going to finish with a call to action, which basically means now that your reader has finished your paper, what should they do now? Are they just done and they should pick up the next book? No, we're going to inform them of what they should do. As a quick recap, we started this conclusion with a thesis statement, followed by a restatement of the main ideas. Now let's finish with a call to action. I'm going to write a few call to actions here. The most simplistic yet boring would be, now go read more about pandas. That is a call to action. It does tell your reader what to do, yet I find it a bit boring and too simplistic. You could write, now go schedule a visit to a nearby zoo that has one of these amazing animals. Well, that's more interesting, and it has a little bit more thought to it. Thirdly, now that you have read some general information about giant pandas, go to your library to find out more information or learn about a different one of your favorite animals. All three of these would meet the requirement of call to action, but as I read through, I think the third one fits best with what I've already written. Now, I would recommend reading through your conclusion again just to be sure everything flows well. And if it does, have a teacher come over and check it out, and you're done.